steps forward. High fives in the parking lot. Ties his shoes with a double knot. High fives in the parking lot. Ties his shoes with a double knot. High fives in the parking lot. Dark, but until then, it's high fives in the parking lot. Ties his shoes with a double knot. High fives in the parking lot. Ties his shoes with a double knot. High fives in the parking lot. Ties his shoes with a double knot. High fives in the parking lot. Ties his shoes with a double knot. Ties his shoes with a double knot. Ties his shoes with a double knot.
Sup? We are live. I don't really have tons of a plan today, but I did see this one video I want to watch, so I want to watch this video and probably yap about Invincible because I'm interested to see if other people are finally realizing that the show is bad. Because I think the first season was the only good season actually. But I'll expand on that as we get a little bit of a outside input. Mostly, so I'll just say, when I watched the first season of Invincible, I then immediately read the entire comic series, and have nothing but good things to say about the first season and how it changed from the comics, and what they did differently from the comics. And in general, I'd have to say the reason the second season and now the third and fourth season are out, the show is, in my opinion, I guess like spoiler, my opinion is the show is much, 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 much worse, because it is almost to a fault following the comics. There is so much the comic actually, just like the show, starts out kind of strong, gets a little stronger, plateaus, and then fucking nosedives, as it feels like the writer got fucking bored writing it and just starts like breakneck speed doing things. The pacing is a huge problem. But anyway,
So I just watched
Invincible
season 4, and I have some thoughts. I started watching Invincible when it first came out. I even featured it in one of my favorite things videos. And I kind of had a weird arc with Invincible, because I was watching the first episode and I was like, this is the most generic superhero shit I have seen in a while. And I knew there was a lot of hype around Invincible, and I'd kind of want to check out the comics for a while, and then all of a sudden it had this animated TV show, and I was like, okay, cool, let's watch this. And I was like, I don't know if I'm really feeling this. And I think a lot of people have that experience with episode 1, and that is until you hit the bit. So if you have somehow remained completely oblivious about what Invincible is and the theme behind it, I'm about to spoil that, and so if you want to know whether I think you should watch it, yes, but here come episode 1 spoilers. Invincible is about Mark, who is this young teenager who has just awakened to the fact that he is a superhero. And he's a superhero because his dad is a superhero, Omni-Man. Or more specifically, Superman. Omni-Man is just Superman, and it's not meant to be subtle. And, you know, it all feels like this kind of coming-of-age story, and it's like, yeah, you know, it's grand, it's fine, it's whatever. And that is until you get to, like, minute 35 of this 40-minute episode, and Omni-Man turns around and basically straight up fucking murks the Justice League. He fucking turns them to strawberry jam. He liquidizes this group of superheroes in a way that is so grotesque and shocking. And it's such a great first episode because it's immediately like...
It's a really good first episode. And to compare, the comics don't do that for, like, I don't know, 11 chapters or so. The start off of the comics is so much slower, and it's not very interesting. The only, and I mean the only thing the beginning first arc of the comics does better than the show is produce a better repertoire, repertoire between Adam, Eve, and Mark. That's the only thing the comic does better. And I was hoping that that would just get backloaded because it would be better to have that relationship and that friendship built up over a back end amount of time. But honestly, it's never happened, and it's something that the show has now done worse than the comic, which is build up their relationship.
Whoa, what the fuck am I watching? And from there, it slowly becomes this kind of story about Mark, this very, like, good-hearted and nice dude, figuring out that his dad is actually this kind of semi-genocidal monster sent from this alien race to overtake Earth, and how Mark deals with that. And, like, there's a lot of really strong moments over the course of season 1, but in particular, that showdown with Omni-Man at the end. Again, if you've escaped the memes and everything, it has just worked its way into kind of becoming a part of internet culture in a way that I love. And I specifically love Omni-Man beating the shit out of Mark and being like, what's another 18 years? I can have another fucking kid. And it's great. So for the most part,
everything about the first season is really great except for the animation budget.
Like, Invincible does follow the very, like, tried and tested superhero formula. A lot of it is about Mark weighing his, like, romantic life, weighing his personal life against his idea, against, like, his life as a superhero. And, you know, he has to do various things. Like, he can't spend a lot of time with his girlfriend because basically whenever he spends time with his girlfriend, that's time that he could be out saving people's lives. And, you know, it's interesting. And I think that even though if you've read a lot of comics, you've encountered stories like that, like, nonstop, I think there is a kind of human touch to the characters in Invincible that make them endearing and make you want to see what happens. I have, like, multiple favorite characters in this, but one of them for me is Robot. Robot is this character who...
Robot fucking sucks, and his arc throughout the series is nonsensical and just straight up fucking stupid. I gotta be real. This character was just like... This character went from being good and like a character that actually felt a little bit like a smart character to the moment him and Monster Girl go into the portal for the, like, what is it, the Thraxans or something, in both in the comics, and then, like, they show back up, immediately the character is fucking stupid, and the like, leaps of logic are peak smart character written by dumb person. They're just peak smart character written by dumb person.
He is a robot, and over the course of the show, it's about him learning to become more human and then eventually, like, trying to biologically become human in ways that have not gotten fucked up yet, but I'm betting they do. Or then you have people like Rex, who is this his power is basically Gambit from X-Men, and the dude is a total fucking asshole. Like, every scene he's in season 1, you're like, oh, this fucking guy. And then they do my favorite thing in media, where they take someone on the cusp of being irredeemable and then just slowly bring them back and give them just enough character growth that you're like, oh, this fucking guy's trying at least. And I love that. One of the things Invincible has over like a lot of kind of other superhero shows is that it does feel very adult. These characters be fucking, and when they're not fucking, these characters are exploding each other into Mortal Kombat fatality chunks of gore. And some of it is like, it's so fucked up. So there's one girl in it, I can't remember her specific name, I think it's Multicate or something like that. And
Duplicate. It's Duplicate. It's Duplicate. Multicate doesn't even make sense.
Power is that she can multiply herself, which is like a really handy power. But the problem is she basically just has the like physical ability of like a young teenage girl, but the way she fights is just sending scores and scores of herself at the enemy, and these multiplied versions of herself are getting like torn in half and butchered and fucked up in all these really, like, I don't know, for me it's incredibly gory. But it's like, when I watch gore, and this is like a Mortal Kombat fatality thing, I'm kind of watching it, but there's a point that my brain just clocks out and is like, I can't register this is gore anymore, this is just too silly. And it's like the noob Cybot wishbone fatality from Mortal Kombat. It's so over the top, it's so violent that
I think the gore in Invincible's also pretty fucking silly. In the comic, it's much more illustrative in this, like, over-the-top way. I actually think in the show, outside of the first season, in the first episode and, like, the final episode, all the gore is pretty just, like, I don't know, it's cartoonish. It is, and it serves essentially no fucking purpose, in my opinion. And that gets repeatedly emphasized. I feel the same way about, like, The Boys, where it's like, it's played for some kind of, like, shock value, that it just gets, like, it starts distracting from things that are going on. It just, like, starts distracting. Where it's like, would this even be this gore? And it's like, no, it's, like, fucking ridiculous, honestly. Like, I feel like it gets too overplayed, to be honest.
At some point, I don't even get grossed out about it. I'm just like, ha, weird. It's itchy and scratchy. It's the itchy and scratchy effect. And you totally get that with a lot of the fights in Invincible, where, like, these crazy, disgusting things are happening, but it's like, at least to me...
I would say another thing that just, like, downplays the level of gore is it creates a lot of, like, questions of, like, how much damage is someone actually taking when fucking everything is so ridiculously gory, and some people just fucking, like, shrug that shit off. And it's like, how am I supposed to gauge anything?
Horrible. There are some exceptions to that we will get to, but yeah, it's I guess it's interesting seeing a more adult side of superhero stuff on, like, a mainstream TV show. I would say the other huge advantage Invincible has is, I think it has, like, a great cast of characters and I really enjoy them, but its pacing as a TV show, and I can only speak as a TV show because I haven't actually, like...
No, the pacing is fucking bad. It's my number one complaint. The comic's worse in most regards. And now the show is getting just as bad because the show is following the comics too well. Like, it's following it fucking, like, scene for scene. The pacing is so god awful. The pacing is bad, terrible, bad. The pacing is so bad. It is the reason I don't like that it is following the comics so well at this point, is that the pacing of the comic starts out just like, okay, mediocre to fine, and then, like I said, the writer gets like fucking bored or something and starts introducing any and every opportunity to time skip either Mark or other characters through the plot. And it's just like, if you're gonna do that, have a, and then nothing fucking happened for 5 years and just actually skip ahead. Like, it's so terrible, and so much drama gets introduced that doesn't make any sense by constantly, and I mean constantly, having Mark be desynced from the rest of the plot via some amount of time. And in a case later on in the comics, literally time traveled into the future by like 2 months.
Read any of the comic or anything. Its pacing as a TV show is kind of fucking insane. Like, every episode is episodic, but the way the overall episodes tie into past episodes and like make callbacks and do all these different things, it's really, really like interesting and well done. And
it's not! I don't know how you could say that. It's not interesting and well done. It is so bad. That's a wild take to me.
There is 1 or 2 slow episodes in season 4 specifically, particularly the episodes where they go to hell, but for the most part, I am constantly caught off guard by how invested I am in Invincible's plot lines, because it knows how to take like a simple idea and fuck with it just enough that it's like, it's interesting and you care. So like, one of the early episodes involves Earth being invaded by these aliens from an alternate dimension, which, you know, fairly standard superhero plotline. But what I really enjoyed with these aliens is, in their dimension, time passes quicker than it...
This is the only example of an interesting thing for, like, pacing, but also, again, it gets ruined by having Monster Girl and Robot go into their dimension, where then they come back fucked. And, like, having no understandable or reasonable progressions in their characters. And even once it's explained what happened in the alternate dimension, you're just like, I still don't get how they got from point A to point B at all, because these characters are not the same characters whatsoever, and I can't even understand the progression of their choices at all, or now, like, given the progression of their choices and how they developed as characters in this other dimension, how their opinions have changed or not changed, and their perceptions have changed or not changed.
Does in our dimension. So that means that, like, and this isn't the exact time measurement, but an hour in our dimension would be like a week in their dimension. But what this means is that, you know, they enter our city, the superheroes fight them off and like propel them back into their portal, and then a couple of weeks later they're able to come back, but to them it's been years, and they've developed all these countermeasures against our superheroes. And it's really, really like interesting, because every time these aliens come back, they've had more...
This was also not what I would say is an example of pacing. I would not use this as an example of pacing. I would... To me, this is not an example of pacing at all. I'd say the good examples of pacing that have been shown that were shown in both the anime or animation, the TV show, and the comic would be like the little Martian starfish and the Thraxans. They show up periodically, set up cliffhangers, and then you resolve the tension that was, or like the tease that was developed. You create tension, then you resolve that tension, and it doesn't happen immediately all in one row. It's a good, like, dangling, oh, this is gonna happen, and then it happens, and you have to address it later on. And those are pretty much the only 2 examples of like a setup and payoff that are good at all. Other bad examples would be, like, that were both in the show and in the comic book, would be like Nolan going off to get the countermeasures to other Viltrumites. It ends up basically in the show and in the comic essentially being a fucking montage. It's not a real journey, it's not a real saga, it's not a real quest, it's just a montage of here's all these things that Nolan in his lifetime as a conqueror for the Viltrumites encountered that fucked them up. And it doesn't develop anything interesting or really fill out any lore. It's just like, here's some stuff that existed that fucked them up a little bit. And this is how they fucked them up.
More time to think about how to counter us and develop technology that can like overcome our greatest strengths. And where that goes, and like the way that we have to then think about this as an enemy, not that we need to repel, but that we need to like shut down entirely and bring them to the point where they will never want to attack us again. It's all like really, really super interesting. But then like you have these different dynamics at play as well. Like you have Mark, and he's, you know, basically Superboy trying to do the right thing, but then he also works for this like shady government agency with another one of my favorite characters, Cecil. And Cecil, there's a bit of characterization I really love in Cecil's backstory, where it shows Cecil being put in prison, and he's put in prison with this absolutely massive and horrifying guy. Like, I think he's like some giant superpowered fucking crazy person. And then it cuts, and that giant superpowered dude is like Cecil's assistant. They don't need to tell you how Cecil did it. They don't need to tell you what happened between them, but the character writing of Cecil is strong enough that you're like, yeah, I believe Cecil could do that to fucking someone. Yeah, it's just genuinely like really good.
Cecil's character development is about the same in the comics. Cecil's relationship with Mark is one of the more interesting and better developed relationships. And this is also an example of why I think, like, it doesn't make any goddamn sense to see how, like, Robot develops over time. Because at one point when Cecil decides to put the fucking kibosh on Mark early on, by testing this sound weapon against him, he goes to the teen team, or maybe they're actually the fucking new Justice League or whatever at this point, to have them help defend him against Cecil. And Robot is the one who, like, basically is like, we need to, like, Mark's a good guy, we have no reason to fucking, like, believe he'd be a bad guy. And then, like, eventually down the line, Robot entirely goes against knowing Mark and knowing their Mark after the multi-Mark event, and then also becoming more cynical, I guess, and tyrannical after the going into the Thraxan dimension and growing up, that he decides, no, we can't trust Mark at all. We have to fucking kill Mark. Or we have to kill Mark, or we have to fucking, like, banish him from the planet because I need to be in charge. I need to be the monstrous dictator, and I'm gonna kill anyone in my way that stops me from being God King of Earth. And it's just like, how did any of that develop when you were a character who reasonably understands situations and people, even if you might also be a little autistic, in that you know your Mark is different than other Viltrumites. Your Mark is different than other Marks. It's all just so very dumb.
Episode is something new, and they're introducing some new concept or faction or villain, and it's just great. And I think one thing I enjoy about it as well is that the show is very willing to let its heroes get absolutely fucked up, and in some, like, really horrifying ways. Like, there's one fight, and I'm not going to give it away. They basically introduce this goofy goober bunch of supervillains, and you're just like, okay, these guys are just gonna get dog walked in like a second. And you're watching the fight, and the supervillains are just getting, like, their asses kicked. I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to spoil it for people, but it's like, they don't seem like a serious faction at all. And then you're watching, and it's like, okay, this is actually going a little worse than I thought it would for our heroes. And then you're watching and it's like, oh my fucking God, like what is happening? Like what the fuck is this am I actually seeing this? And it's like, when the show is willing to do stuff like that, it makes every encounter feel genuinely dangerous, because even though Mark is, the people around him are not, and the way that like that plays into it, and like the peril you feel when like an evil person with superpowers is on screen, it's like really genuinely very compelling in a way that like I was not expecting when I first watched this show. And for me personally, that is a huge part of what I love about Invincible, the shit it's willing to do to its characters. And this brings me to my favorite moment, my favorite episode of Invincible, and the moment that I really kind of fell in love with the series. Was like, okay, this is just something I genuinely am going to be excited to experience for a long time. And without giving like too much away, Mark goes through some absolute fucking shit. He has to have a war with all these like alternate versions of himself. And these versions are all...
This is one of the examples of the terrible, terrible, fucking god-awful, trash-ass pacing that is present in both the show and the comics. The show is this much better than the comics in this regard. The entire multi-mark war is resolved in a 2-page montage in the comic. The entire goddamn thing. The entire goddamn thing. Actually, I've got to pull it up because I got to show you. Jesus Christ. Is it... Did I... Oh my god. I'm gonna... Okay. We're gonna find this. Okay, this... I'm just trying to figure out so I don't have to fucking browse through. I'm trying to figure out, remember which one it was. Which issue it was. Because I gotta show this because it's barely better in the show, and it's not very good in the show either. But it is better in the show. It's just god awful, and this like actually made me mad. Okay, let's believe that. Nope, that is definitely not true. I'm gonna guess it was like maybe issue... No. Later than that, issue... I'm gonna guess 80-ish? No, before this. So maybe like 60-ish. Google is absolutely useless, so I thought I was gonna just be able to Google which one it happened in, and literally useless. Literally fucking useless. Okay, I was pretty close. This is where someone just popping in with, like, the perfect information would be really great. It's the fucking wiki, tell me. No. Okay, 61 maybe, because here's the like part that's so stupid is just popped in, not up to date on Invincible. Is it bad now? I think it's been bad. I think it's been bad since after the first season. I read the comic series immediately upon just immediately upon I stopped after the first season. Yeah, I read the comic series immediately upon finishing the first season and have basically thought the show has been bad since the first season, or since after the first season. And I've mostly thought this because it now follows the comic too much. And the comic it's got good parts about it, but overall I think it's bad. Overall, I think it's bad. Like, I think the comic is bad for some pretty critical reasons. The number one being, the pacing is just unbelievably bad. Like, I'm ADD-brained, and I can tell the writer is ADD-brained. This shit, okay, I'm right that it's issue 61. I just can't get this shit to load! I'm so positive that's... he's talking about the Invincible War, and the pacing in the show and the comics is the number one reason that it's bad. It's just like, we do not spend time... Isn't One Piece famously slow / full filler? The show is, and I won't watch the show. The show is bad. I only read the manga, because the manga is good. If they remake the show without all the fucking filler, and then it would be good. But, like, slow moments are acceptable if those slow moments are developing plot. Okay, wait, no, is it issue 60? I guess it's issue 60. I was wrong. It's not 61. It's issue 60. that it happens in. Just load, Jesus Christ. Okay. So, here is the Invincible comic, right? Okay. Here is... It goes months later. We have the multi-marks being pulled in by Langstrom. I think that's, if I remember right, that's his name. It gives us a montage of them fucking up the planet everywhere and fighting various people in the comic series. And then we have our mark fighting one of the marks, and then getting misidentified by some heroes. And then we get a little bit of dialogue. We get this in the show too. This is pretty much scene for scene. We get shown that they take out like the weakest mark, and then the entire rest of the Invincible War is this page, and we're done. That was the Invincible War. It's 3 panel, or it's basically one continual montage panel that is 3 total, not even 3 full pages. This is the entire Invincible War in the comic. It is this 3 pages. The entire goddamn war is 3 pages of a fight montage where a bunch of characters die, basically off screen, including, like, this is what I'll give the show. The show did this way better. Like, fucking this is all you get of Rex dying and killing one of the fucking, is this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tiny panels with 2 large panels. This is all you get of his entire character. He at least got like basically a full episode in the show. So this is... Some authors enjoy slow moments not for development or world building, just because they like existing in their own world, and they... What else use? Yeah, okay, there's too slow like Dune, but there's also too fast. The comics get bored with themselves. And the show was brave in the first season. The show was brave in the first season to make massive changes to the order and flow of things. For example, in the comic, Nolan is not revealed to be the bad guy for like 5 issues. Like 5 full comics, he is not revealed to be a bad guy. They did the smart thing of making it a little bit of an investigation of we know but nobody else knows, like right away. First episode. It is a great change. A matter of fact, I have almost, I would say 9 out of 10 changes they make in the first season are all perfect. And they change a lot. They change quite a lot. From characters' identities, from characters, like, basically personalities, down to, development of relationships. The only thing that the first season does not do as well as its corresponding comic issues is it does not develop a proper friendship between Mark and Adam Eve. Pacing for shows always needs to be faster than TV. You can convey so much more information on screen in a short amount of time. The pacing is slower in the show. across the fucking board, except for this one thing, which is they do not develop Mark and Adam Eve's relationship as friends even a quarter as much as the comic does. The comic really lets that relationship breathe and grow in a way that actually feels like these characters are friends and makes it make sense that they have romantic tension. In the show, it's so little time is dedicated to it that by the time we have Mark basically being, I'm interested in you, it literally only feels like he's doing it because he saw Adam Eve from an alternate timeline future where Adam Eve from that alternate timeline future confesses that she had feelings for their timeline's Mark. And that seems to be the only reason he ever goes, oh yeah, I had a crush on Adam Eve for like 5 seconds. I should pursue it now knowing that an alternate timeline version of Adam Eve from the future admitted she also had feelings for me. But it doesn't feel valid in the show because we never developed a friendship outside of them being kind of horny for each other for like half a second. Like, that's it. It's so much better in the comic, and I'm gonna say it, the only thing the comic does better than the show. It's the one and only thing the comic has done better than the show, period. The comic is worse in every way from the show so far. With maybe the only other exception being the show does not give, like, screen time to half as many characters. But also, that kind of makes sense because a lot of these, like, characters you might see, like, you've got precious limited time on screen and you can't fill it up with, like, 35 side superheroes who are all memes of other, or all, like, parodies of other heroes from other comics. You just don't have time to do that, and if you did it, it would make the show worse. But, like, so I'm not gonna mark that as something that the show does better or worse than the comic. It's just a difference of media. Like you said, there needs to be changes because they're different mediums. But no, the show did this way better, and it still didn't do it well. I still think they weren't slow enough. Because you will see, this entire war is done in 4 pages total, and then we see Aftermath. And then they get betrayed by, then the Marks get betrayed by Langstrom. And then Mark fucking kills Langstrom. Or defeats him. And that's the entire arc. So we have this entire arc is solved in, like, from the total war in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pages total, with 3 of them being the entire actual war with the Marks. So 10 of them are fighting Langstrom and dealing with, like, side stuff. 3 of them are the actual war with the Marks. And then we have some aftermath. We get like, Mark being like, oh my god, I was involved in all this aftermath again. How are IMDb user ratings? Let's check. Do we have a season? Goddamn, is that what? That cannot be a screenshot. That cannot be a screenshot. Please tell me that is not a screenshot. Holy shit, that looks bad. Holy fuck, that looks bad. Please tell me that's not a screenshot. Please tell me that's not a screenshot. My favorite character in the entire series is this dino guy. Who the series also resolves in a dumbass way because of time skipping and nonsensical thinking of smart characters being written by dumb people. Oh my god. I gotta say, the animation has notably been looking like it's been getting worse. Okay, does it have total season ratings? So, okay, season 1, we got a 9, 8, 8, 7, 9, 7, 9, 9. I'd agree with that. 2, we get 8, 7, 8, 9, high 8, 7, and this is the Invincible War one. Which, again, this is probably the best episode in the season. Probably paired, like, these two episodes paired, so I'd probably agree with this, that this is the peak of the season, and I still think the season's not that good. Crazy that this still scored a 9. This was not a very good episode, but whatever. Overall, I'd say Season 2 did it better than the comics still, but it was worse than the first season. I don't have that much negative to say about the second season, because it is better than the comic still. It is better than the comic. Now, Season 3 is a 1-for-1. It's a 1-for-1 on the comics, in my opinion, and it's bad. The fact that... Are you kidding? Okay... I'll agree, this scene in the comic and in the show was good. So, like, this being a 1-for-1 in the comic, I can't say is bad. I'd probably agree that's a 9. But to say that this shit was a 9, that's crazy. That's crazy. This was dumb in the comic, and it's dumb in the show. It's especially dumb when you realize how this ties in near the end of the fucking series. It's so goddamn stupid. It's so fucking stupid. Oh my god, it's mind-numbingly fucking stupid. Oh my god, it drives me crazy how fucking stupid it is. I cannot elaborate. Crazy that this is, like, this should be a 6, this should be a 6. A 9.7? Out of your god, a 9.9. You guys are delusional. 9.9? The Conquest. This is the final fight with Conquest. Yeah, almost 100k reviews. 9.9. You guys are fucking delusional. You know what this is the fight where they finish off Conquest. This happens to show you this is why the show is better paced so far. So this is the end of the Invincible War. It happened at breakneck speed, right? And then he's viewing the aftermath. And while he's viewing the aftermath of the Invincible War, literally instantly, and this pretty much happens in the show too, he's like, the aftermath, Yeah, this happens in the show too. Where they're like, this isn't the time. We're trying to come together. Blah blah blah. Um. God damn it, load. And he goes out to help with the fucking, like, yeah, he's recoups, talks to people, goes out to help with the aftermath, and is helping with cleanup. This is good character development. This also doesn't really happen nearly as much in the show, where we linger on him at all. But this, what happens literally right away is Conquest shows up while he's doing this. It's in the timeline of things, this is like 24 hours after the Invincible War or some shit like that. It is less than 30 hours from the Invincible War. Conquest shows up, which is his new hardest battle. Jesus Christ, load. Whatever. Next. And then the actual, like, fight between them happens. I don't know, but I more get sidetracked because he said the pacing was good, and my entire problem is the pacing is bad, and it's better in the show, but it's still bad, and to call this a 9.9, now I'm distracted by IMBD. This is a 9.9, where we have the fucking, this episode is the fight, this episode is the end of the fight, which... This is the entire fucking... Just load. I'm just gonna fucking skip. Holy fuck. I mean, I understand that I'm, like, basically pirating a comic book, but could we load better? Could we load? Could we load? Could we just load? Could we fucking load? Okay, yep, Oliver shows up, yep, and then the fight happens, everyone's scrambling to help him. Oh my god. This is why I also say the gore in the comic is actually... The gore across the board in the comic is done better, because the gore is kind of used as just, like, set dressing in the show, but there's, like, these almost, like, you know the grotesque panels in SpongeBob, where it's, like, something grotesque, there's something grotesque and you get this hyper detail shot? Every gore scene in the comic, I know it's failing to load, is this hyper detail, like, grotesque of showing how actually brutal the damage is. Whereas, like, it's a little too flat. It's a little too flat. It's a little too devoid of detail to really emphasize anything other than every person in the Invincible show is filled to the brim with raspberry gusher juice. Like, every person is just a raspberry gusher. Okay, fucking Christ. Okay, every panel is, like, quarter loading. Okay, whatever. Maybe that'll load. But this fucking, like, scene, or this episode to me is laughably bad. This episode is laughably bad and looks like shit. And for it to be 9.9, I'm sorry, the people rating this are beyond fucking delusional. Especially, this is a 9.9. This is a 9.9. But this is a 9? The first episode is a 9, but you're telling me the Conquest Mark fight is damn near a 10. I just let's fucking compare. How many episodes of Breaking Bad are a 9.9? How many episodes of Breaking Bad are a 9.9? 0 episodes in the first season are a 9.9. 0 episodes in the second season are a 9.9. 0 episodes in the third season are a 9.9. 0 episodes in the 4th season are a 9.9. Zero episodes in the final season are a 9.9. So, they're you motherfuckers are saying, you brainless, you soupy-brained sacks of fuck, are saying that this episode is better than every episode of Breaking Bad. I also liked Better Call Saul more than Breaking Bad. I also like Better Call Saul more than Breaking Bad. I did. I thought it was more entertaining, but I have a feeling that it's also going to be treated worse. Oh, we get 9.9. And this is a great episode, too. Like, Better Call Saul is so good. But yeah, I'm just saying, it has more votes, too. It has more votes. This is a fucking psyop. This is a psyop. This fucking garbage. I'm creating an account just so I can rate it poorly. Give me that pin, Gabby. Give me that pin. Give me your phone so I can enter that pin.
What are you buying on Amazon?
I'm not buying anything. I'm creating an IMBD account, and it's linked to Amazon. 817918.
908.
This is delusional. This is delusional. Delusional. Yeah, I'm so mad I signed up for something. No, look, I'm not being unreasonable here. Everyone else is being unreasonable here. This means basically everyone gave it a 10. This means, like, the vast majority of people get, if there's 97,000 votes, and it has a 9.9, that means, like, 95,000 of these were a 10. That means almost 95,000 people think this is perfect television. Are you kidding me? Or nothing happens in this episode. Nothing. It's just a dumbass fight scene. And it's not even that cool. Nothing. I have to pee, but... Oh, is it the am I out of touch? No, it's everybody else that's out of touch, like Principal Skinner one. No, I think genuinely, I'm not even fucking around. I'm just saying, Logan, you gotta watch you gotta watch up to this episode and then tell me you think. Yeah, I'm telling you, you gotta watch up to this episode because you know what? Season 2's still worth watching. It's not as good as Season 1. It's still good TV. Season 3 is mediocre TV. Season 3 is, it's fine. It's fine. It's not actually, like, objectionably bad, but it's not exciting, really. It's something you've seen. It's not breaking ground in any capacity. It's not doing anything that's incredibly suspenseful. It's not doing anything interesting at all. Nothing fun happens in this entire season. I just don't watch a ton of TV shows. I more like to need to catch a movie since the time commitment is way lower. Very fair. Especially since each one of these episodes is like 45 minutes long. Just getting to this is like 20 hours of commitment. I understand. This is also why I just don't watch that much and why I'm like behind on a bunch of TV. A bad movie, I'm out 2 hours. A bad show, I'm out like 10. Yeah, and here's the thing, like, I'm being hyperbolic here in that, like, I think the show is getting bad, but I still don't think it is bad. I just think it started as like a 9, maybe a 9.5 for the total value of the first season. I think the total experiential value of the first season is somewhere between a 9 and a 9.5. I think it's exceptional television. The second season is like an 8. It's above average. Like, it's very enjoyable. And it has incredibly enjoyable parts and leaves you wanting more. The second season still leaves you wanting more, but it does also make you go, that wasn't as good. The third season makes you go, I don't think the show is unwatchable, you just think it's getting glazed and overhyped. It is definitely getting glazed and overhyped, and I don't like watching something that I do enjoy, especially because I read the entire comic series, and my opinion, the comic series went, I think the comic ends just, like, I think by the entire, I'd say the last point at which the comic is good out of its 144 issues is probably, like, around issue 90. So there's, like, so it ends up being, like, there stops being anything good about the comic somewhere in this block. And then you have, like, 40 issues of just slop. You have, like, 40 issues of slop. Where nothing interesting happens. And it's just like, oh, the writer is bored. The writer is bored and doesn't want to do it anymore. And instead of just, like, coming up or, like, slowing down or coming up with, like, a way, like, I think you could probably fucking, like, almost see this in production rate too. That, like, the first what, like, 90 issues happen over almost 10 years, and then the preceding, like, 60 issues happen in 5 years. So, like, the rate of production doubled. Is there a moment that feels like a final conclusion, but that continued because it was... No. The story isn't done. Not by a long shot. It's just the way we're trying to get to the ending. Like, I think he knew where he wanted it to end, but realized that if he was gonna keep telling a good story... that the series, instead of ending in 2018, wasn't gonna end until, like, this year. I think he realized that if he wanted to keep telling a good story, that it was going to take another 10 years. And he didn't want to put 10 years more of commitment in. Which, fine. I'm not saying you have to do that. You are not a slave to your creation as a creator. But you went from making a comic series that was decent and at very good, decent at some mid moments, to exceptionally good at others, to rushing to a conclusion is kind of what happened. Because when I say the pacing is bad, what happens is there are dozens of basically time skip moments where we produce drama, conflict, or character weakness by simply having Mark not be around for really bullshit excuse reasons, one of which is literally, at one point, I'm kidding you not, Mark falls in a hole on an alien planet, encounters some divine alien entity that sends him back to issue 1 to let him change his past. He realizes, even though it might make things better, he can't change the past for better or worse, then gets skipped back to where he fell in the hole, except not exactly when he fell back in the hole, because he's been missing now for 6 months. That actually happens. It's a trope in the tropiest, dumbest ways. And a bunch of problems and conflicts arise by having Mark not be around for 6 months. It's just beyond dumb. It's beyond dumb. But no, I'm more incredulous because there's no universe in which this deserves a 9. This is, to me, if we're being honest, a 6. The entire episode is a fight scene. The entire fucking episode is a fight scene. And it's not even an awesome fight scene. It's a mid as fuck fight scene. Another almost 10? No. People are just glazing every fight scene. This is just the first Thrag fight scene that you get. No. People are insane. People are insane. They're just, no, people are, this has to be bots or something. People are coming in and glazing every episode that's a fight scene. This is another episode that the entire fucking episode is just a fight scene. Are we kidding? Is peak media just a 30-minute fight scene? Is that what peak media is? It's not even a cool fight scene. Also, Jesus Christ. The animation is this is a scene from the animation? What did they do to my boy? What? fuck it. Fuck it. We're just gonna... We don't need to actually see the... I'm just gonna fucking Google image what this guy looks like in the comics. This is the fucking... This is what he looks like in the comics. Are we serious? The animation looking worse each season is also part of the reason I'm actually, like, losing massive interest, is because the animation wasn't good. It was passable. And now the animation is wretched. This is what it looks like in the comic. Are you, or I mean in the animation, are you serious? I did see a lot of folks clown on a frame next to a mirror where Omni-Man didn't even line up. Yeah, I don't know if they're just not paying people to make this, but, like, granted, I expect the comic to look better. But what did you do to my boy? This is my favorite character in the entire series. Yes, they are. They're rushing the show at a detriment to quality. I really don't know. I really don't know.
Like crazy and evil and fucked up, and they're like annihilating the people of Earth this really like horrifying and gory way, and Mark has to like fight like 7 or 8 of them. I think it's more than that, and it's just so awful and harrowing. And then he does it, and he's kneeling on the ground, and he's exhausted, and he's beat up, and then right at the end of the episode he looks into the sky, and there is a Viltrumite, one of his race who are like him, but he's gigantic and his teeth are all fucked up, and he has this giant...
By the way, Conquest looks like shit in the anime too. I've heard people saying the cartoon or whatever. People are calling him Babyface Conquest. There's something about an Irish accent that just seems to add credibility to someone doing it. Yeah, true. But I just gotta say, so we just saw, this is the exact same scene in the comic. Fucking Christ. This is the exact same scene in the comic where he shows up for that first time. I'm just saying, I see the babyface accusations. I see the babyface accusations, and they're valid. The babyface accusations are valid. What is that? Look at how... Oh, God damn it, I just want to see his face closer. Look at how goddamn grizzled and fucked up he actually looks. Like, look at him. He looks so much crazier.
Like him, but he's gigantic and his teeth are all...
Babyface. I know you're simplifying it so you can have easy animation, but you remove so much of his character of being this grizzled... I'd say not even 20%. I mean, the comic, one of the high points of the comic is the author is a very good illustrator. He's a very good illustrator. He mashes these things with, honestly, too much detail. His stuff, so I can't expect the animation to be 1-to-1. But this just looks bad. He looks tender and soft. He looks like the DC animated series version of the character. He looks like he's about to pop out. I think it's bad because they didn't even get his, like, face shape right. You could have simplified the character and still made him look more like grizzled and fucked up. This is just... it's pathetic to me. Like, the lack of fucking care for the detail of this character.
All fucked up, and he has this giant metal arm, and he is Conquest, and Conquest is here to kill Mark and annihilate Earth, or at least enslave Earth. And the best way I would put it is...
maybe, but I still think he looks pretty soft, even considered Nolan. Here's the thing, Nolan looked more grizzled and more hard than Conquest when he shows up in the show. Conquest in the show just, he looks just way too soft. He looks too round. You're giving me shape language that is at odds with who the character is. Like, when you have Nolan beating the hell out of Mark in the first season, Nolan looks more grizzled and more, like, detailed.
Is if you were on the internet back in the day and you ever saw that one JPEG of Broly holding Goku by the fucking skull, Conquest is that image turned into an American comic book character. He is this absolute onslaught of a wall that just beats the living fuck out of Mark, and it's so good, it's so violent, and it's so brutal, and you really feel for Mark because he's spent when this fight starts. And my favorite part of the whole thing is Mark, after hopelessly trying to just do anything to Conquest, and at this point he has the shit beaten out of him, his bones are broken, he's completely fucked up.
I guess so.
And Conquest just leans over and he just goes, I'm
cool, we got another bot. Hi, bot.
so lonely, Mark. And he talks about how all the other Viltrumites don't want to be friends with him because...
This delivery in the show is so weak. It's so fucking cold in the comic. I'm not going to try and find it. It's so cold in the comic. The delivery is so weak in the show.
He's so unstable and violent and fucked up. And it's about the most intimidating thing a villain could say to a superhero. And I loved it. This was the moment I absolutely...
Oh, here's another example of the pacing just being dog shit. So, the first time we, in the comic and kind of the show, because the show doesn't remedy this, so, yeah, Conquest shows up immediately after the Mark War, which is less of a problem in the show because they actually gave the Mark War time. In the comic, it's like, okay, the Mark War wasn't anything, so why do we care that he showed up immediately after the Mark War? But the very next time we see Conquest ever is the last time we see Conquest because Mark kills him instantly. He is a very cool character that is ominous and threatening, and the next time we see him, he is killed instantly without doing anything. He punches Oliver like one fucking time, and then Mark chokes him to death. That is the very next time we ever get to see Mark after this initial fight they have. The very next time they ever see each other, Mark chokes him to death fucking instantly, and we replace him with Thrag. Why am I getting so many kickbots? I'm not joining anyone's Discord. If you want to share my shit, share my shit. I'm not buying into some weird fucking Discord pyramid scheme. Go fuck yourself.
He like fell in love with Invincible. But the reason I'm front loading like a lot of the kind of positives here is because there is a big negative with Invincible that I know a lot of people are kind of struggling with at the moment, and I think a lot of people are going to struggle to get into, and that is how the show looks. There's been a lot going around this season about people saying,
okay, at least he's gonna bring it up. The show looks bad.
That the show looks like garbage. And you know what? I can understand where people are coming from to a degree, right? Because if you look at the Invincible comic, it is actually quite a good looking comic, and like some of the pages, particularly some of the like more badass layouts, they really capture a lot of drama and a lot of like, they feel cinematic and big in a way that maybe the cartoon doesn't sometimes. But I wanted to go into specific
Yeah, visual quality, the comic is here, the show is here. The comic is up here for visual quality, the show is down here.
Specifically, like, why I think it looks bad and what the trade-off happening here is. So Invincible looks very simple. It's a very kind of like stylistically very simple show, definitely very like pulled back from the comics. I would say a lot of the characters, they look a little flat, and their designs tend to be simplified for the animation. But that's the thing, it's simplified for the animation. And the trade-off is that a lot of the animation in Invincible is actually pretty good. Like specifically,
in regards, like, I wouldn't say across the board, because I'd say in general there are trade-offs, or I would have said there are trade-offs. Now, I think the comic is just better than the show. If you were asking me in Season 1, I would have said the show is, while looking visually less interesting, is telling a better story in a more suspenseful, compelling way. So I would have said there are trade-offs for it, and I would have said that Season 1 of the show versus the comics, they're both just like an 8-9. I don't know why you'd watch the show anymore. I just don't. I don't know why. Given the most recent season, I don't know why.
a lot of the action scenes are very like well choreographed and laid out, and there's a lot of impact and there's a lot of drama, and like there's especially like in the character's expression sometimes, although granted I think the voice work does a lot of that because Invincible has like a stellar cast.
He's right there. The voice acting for the show definitely carries a lot of the drama because the visual drama, it's not good. The show's visual drama is bad. Like he said, the comic is fucking cinematic in its I don't know how. He said the fight scenes are cool. I disagree. I think outside of season 1, the fight scenes have been ass. The fight scenes in the still images of the comic are better. They do so much to elicit your imagination and so much to direct that cinematic, like, sphere. I feel like I've seen every fight already that's happened in the show, but better. And I've just seen still images. Thrag, we haven't even touched on Thrag. Thrag is up here in the comic. Thrag is fucking so good. And again, he's suffering from babyface syndrome. He's just so non-threatening feeling. He honestly feels like, instead of a psycho, like Invincible Psycho, who is bred to be the most insane Viltrumite ever, he's just like some kind of weird, annoying, like, deranged guy.
His mom is played by Sandra Oh, his dad is played by J.K. Simmons, and they both are just amazing. So when people say Invincible looks bad, I don't really think it's the animation they're talking about, it's more so the art direction. But I think that the art direction, there is like a huge, big flaw in its production, and this is actually a flaw I have some level of expertise in. I don't know if I've ever talked about it in one of these videos, but before I became a YouTuber, I was what is known as a visual compositing artist. And what a visual compositing artist is you're the person who gets the backgrounds from the background artist and the animation from the animators, and you combine them and make them look good and basically apply kind of style and atmosphere to the shots. Here's what I'm talking about. So this is some footage I did from an old show called Randy Cunningham 9th Grade Ninja. And basically, my job was to take this show, so say we'd get stuff in here, like we'd get the background and we'd get the character. I would put the character on top of the background, but like if you look at that, it looks a little flat. It looks a little kind of not super interesting or like super stylish. And so what I would do then is I would add different layers. So the first thing I do here is I add some snow to the background. And then if you look as well, I added like a little tiny soft glow to the snow, like the moonlight is reflecting off the snow. I also add this rim light to the characters, just so like the character sits in the environment a little better, and all of a sudden you're not looking at like a character sitting on top of an environment, you're looking at a boy ninja standing in a forest of snow. I'd then add another layer where I'd add kind of even a little bit more glow, but now I'd add some like foreground snow as well. And you can see how the foreground snow is like kind of lighter than the background snow, and like how much that does to kind of like there's also like now a light blur on the background, like it's out of focus. And all these little touches together, like they create a huge amount of like atmosphere and like just a sense that there is something kind of interesting going on here.
I agree, that is completely devoid in the show. They stop at one step too soon of the final production. I've seen another like example of this where recently that was yeah, this. I've seen this where someone shows that this is showing what he like one of the biggest problems. The detail that I'm saying is missing can be added in, not even by reanimating the show or redrawing the show, but by adding lighting layers. Do you see how much more grizzled he looks by just adding a layer of light? Like, I can't be talking to the air here. This is just, it's so not interesting. And then you do this and suddenly he looks three-dimensional. He looks grizzled. Details just shoot out of the character that make him look so much more aggressively aged, like he's actually this Viltrumite who's seen 3,000 years of battle. I couldn't say shit about the animation if you just put one more layer on it. It's missing one layer. It's one step away from being finished. They gave you okay. My favorite painting professor always told me you stop 80% from done, because if you work at that last 20%, you're gonna ruin it. This is turning it in 60% done. You didn't even finish that 20%. You didn't even get it to the done enough part where working on it more might ruin it. You just stopped way too soon. And fucking like... This one is more of a visual change, but this is mostly that they made fucking... They made Thrag look so lame. He just looks too round. Again, you can't make intimidating characters fucking chibied. And he looks chibied.
Their coalition thinks it is strong.
Okay, this is not a good change. They did too much, but... The art, I think, is objectively bad. They gave us an objectively unfinished product. Like Eyepatch Wolf is pointing out, and like I just showed with an example, the show could be entirely saved. You could go in on what's already there and just remaster it by just adding in lighting. You could just add in lighting. Just added a lighting layer in.
And, like, I had to do this, like, over and over. I worked as a compositing artist for, like, 6 years. And I really, really enjoyed it. Really, really liked it. I didn't like Randy Cunningham that much as a show. But I really did enjoy how it looked visually and, like, the different stuff I got to work on. And a lot of the times, like, my leads would just let me do whatever. And it was like, oh, I did this entire shot, which was so fun. This was, like, a whole... basically a robot scanning the different things. I got to do this Hadoken. I specifically asked to be put on this. Oh, this is another shot I was super, super proud of as well. See, like, you get just like 2D fire, and like everything looks very flat. Add a glow to the fire. You can see the background blur, and then adding highlights to the characters, and just making it, or then all these like particle effects as well. That is what a compositing artist does. And, you know, if any of the compositing artists out there have any dreams of going from compositing to teenagers screaming at you all day on the internet, I'm living proof that you can do that. So the problem is basically, if you look at Invincible, there is very little of that. A lot of the shots look very, very flat, and there's very little kind of like depth of field or lighting or like any kind of effects that takes it from characters sitting on top of a background to actually feeling like a real scene that's being shot on a camera with lighting and depth of field and all this kind of stuff. And the reason for that is, of course, not because the visual compositing artists on Invincible are lazy, which is actually something I've seen people say. It's because there's apparently 4 of them. And like, even working on Randy Cunningham, we had a compositing team of at least 12 people, and that was a lesser production than Invincible. So my heart goes out to the compositing team on Invincible.
I have heard this too. I have heard this all over the place. But for a show that has the level of success and attention that Invincible has, the fact that there are 4 people working on it. Fuck you, Amazon. Fuck anyone who is responsible for that decision. You deserve the wall.
I know that when you are working with a team that small, you really have to pick and choose your battles. And considering how big Invincible has become, there really is no excuse for like the producers of this show not to be putting more money into it. And that will do a lot to curb people saying that the show looks like garbage. But yeah, I still think Invincible looks good when it needs to look good, in that I think the show moves well and the fight scenes are great and that the characters are expressive and have emotion. I also think that artistically, no, it's not a very interesting show to look at. And if you pause the show at any given moment, you're not going to be met with like a particularly interesting frame. And so with all that in mind, I now want to give my impressions on Season 4. There is going to be spoilers here, and probably a lot of them. So if you haven't seen Invincible, get out of here, buddy. Or you can stay. I don't care. So Season 4 for me was not quite up to maybe Season 3, which is like my favorite season.
You're part of the problem, dude. If you think Season 3 was your... Season 3 was your favorite... You're out of your mind. Season 1 was the best, and it's not even close. Season 2 was a downgrade, but still fine. Season 3 was another downgrade, but at least passable.
But it was interesting, and I think the most interesting thing about it is Invincible does kind of go from this sort of high school superhero, fairly kind of standard thing to becoming something more a space opera. This is the season where after everything, Omni-Man and Mark are reunited, and Omni-Man is doing his best to no longer be a piece of shit, despite kind of objectively just being a total, absolutely horrifying individual. And it's really interesting. Like, that stuff was done really well, but it's also the season where him and Mark have to contend with the fact that they are now considered outsiders and traitors by the Viltrumites. And the Viltrumites are led by Thrag. And Thrag, I think, is the only Viltrumite who is more dangerous than Conquest. Maybe there's someone else in the comics, I don't know, but in terms of...
Yeah, the person is Mark. Mark's the one that's more dangerous. Because he's the main character.
The TV show, Thrag is this completely immovable, indestructible villain, and he is now the problem. And this specific season is Omni-Man, Mark, and like their group of kind of intergalactic allies.
Here's the thing, though. Thrag isn't just this immovable badass. In the comics, it's very, very well done that Nolan and Mark defeat Thrag initially by putting him in a situation where he doesn't want to beat them. That it's now a bad idea. Because they know they can't beat him. And it's not till other things happen that Thrag then decides he's gonna actually fight them, and it really only happens because they dethrone him. They get all the other Viltrumites to turn on him, and he's like, fuck, I had a lot of, like, myself tied up in that I'm the ruler, and if I can't rule, nobody can, type deal. So, like, in a way, they defang the threat by essentially putting themselves in, like, a stalemate with each other. In that, like, they don't want to fight because it would be bad for both of them. It would be bad for Mark and Nolan because Thrag would fucking kill them. And it would be bad for Thrag and the other Viltrumites because they would have no chance. It's revealed at some point there's not very many Viltrumites left. There's like 50. There's like 50 total Viltrumites left. And the humans are pretty much the only shot for good, like, ideal breeding partners for the Viltrumites to repopulate the Viltrumite race. So, they're basically like, look, we can either live in peace on Earth with each other, or we can all die. And that's the situation that's laid forth. It's like, the fight between us would kill every human being, and then even if you survive, you're all gonna fucking die. You're all gonna fucking die one day. You might live a long time, but you don't live forever. And you'll get to watch as you become more and more alone. As less and less of you become available. And eventually, you'll be the last one. And you'll get to die truly alone. And that's not a great trade-off even for Thrag. So Thrag's like, stalemate. We get to live on Earth together peacefully. And it's not really till at some point that they find out Nolan is actually the descendant of the true king of Viltrum, and then they decide to then elect Nolan as their true king, that Thrag goes, fuck it, I'd actually rather die alone, and then it moves into, like, the final arc.
Traveling to the Viltrumite home planet and battling Thrag. And I really enjoyed it once it got going. Now, to me, there were some slow episodes. I thought the episode in Hell particularly, I just didn't have enough to get invested about. I was glad to see the Devil Detective back, but he just didn't really do enough to, like, draw me into their whole story. But then...
I mean... Is it even really spoilers? Like, you get teased early on that there's a true heir to Viltrum, and it's like... Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, if you think, like, specifically the true heir to Viltrum being a spoiler is a spoiler, you have never watched or read anything, because what are the chances that the main characters are not the true descendants of Viltrum? You're reading or watching something a little more highbrow than Invincible if your main characters end up not being the true descendants of the special guy. I'm just saying.
Then you have Conquest coming back into it, and what I love about Conquest coming back is that you're sort of like, okay, I don't know what this dude can do.
I mean, yeah,
that he didn't already do in his first episode. And then by the end of his appearance, you're like, holy fucking god. His fight with Mark, it's not as exciting a fight as the first fight they have, but the way it ends with Mark trying to choke Conquest unconscious and fucking Conquest just ripping out Mark's guts like a downed pinata, that is one of the more fucked up images I have ever seen put to animation, and I kind of loved it because I'm broken. But then ultimately you get this showdown between the Viltrumites and Mark's team, and it's really good. It's a really exciting fight, and like the hopelessness of Thrag and realizing how much more powerful he is, not just than Mark, but then even like Omni-Man and all their other heroes. It's great. It's really good. But where they leave it is that Thrag spares Mark for the simple reason that there's only 50 Viltrumites left alive, or less than 50 now, and he decides that, like, even though Mark and Omni-Man have destroyed, like, the Viltrumite home planet, he doesn't want to see any more Viltrumites die, because there's just not enough of them. His race is on the brink of extinction, and it brought some subtlety to Thrag that I feel like I had kind of been wanting the entire season, because up till now, he is just evil.
No, yeah, that is the entire interesting thing of Thrag, is that Thrag is trying to be a good ruler, and he is trying to do what's best for his people, and it's kind of ironic that one of the only things that turns him into this mindless, like, goober head supervillain is them taking away his entire identity by Nolan becoming king, by finding out that he's the descendant of Argol, who was the true heir to Viltrum, and it is one of the more interesting aspects of the final arc, but then also getting into that final arc is just really dumb, because it's just now everyone trying to kill Thrag. And that goes on for so long, and it's so not interesting. Like, getting there is interesting, but then, like, they should have just killed him. It shouldn't have been such a big deal. I know he's hyped up and he's supposed to be super powerful and everything, and, like, fine, but, like, oh my god, they linger on that shit for so long. And then Robot becomes this side villain, and it's also so stupid. Like, everything just gets so dumb. So skull fucking dumb.
Powerful emperor. Like, that's all he is. And this, like, kind of turn right at the end was like, okay, this is the subtlety I wanted to see from Thrag this entire time. But then you get to the final episode, and after like being knocked unconscious for like weeks or whatever, Mark wakes up and realizes that the only place for the Viltrumites left to go is to Earth. We know from Omni-Man that Viltrumites can breed with humans and create like basically human Viltrumites, which seem to be about as powerful as Viltrumites. So
not about as powerful, as powerful. You did not pay attention. Nolan says it straight up. The offspring of Viltrumite are Viltrumite, so long as the relationship was with a race that is even slightly the same. You have to have a diametrically different species for it to not be a 100% Viltrumite. Mark is 100% Viltrumite. He is 0% human. That's how Viltrumite reproduction works. Now, Oliver, Nolan's, Mark's brother, half-brother, and Nolan's second son, is like 50% Viltrumite. Because the species that Nolan had Oliver with were grasshoppers. They weren't even mammals. So that's the level of different that is required for the offspring to not be 100% Viltrumite.
Logical move for Thrag and the rest of the remaining Viltrumites is to go.
Yes. Mark has a grasshopper brother.
Go to Earth and basically fuck us into extinction, and that's mildly troubling. So then Mark he makes this like agonized journey home, and he doesn't know what's going to be waiting for him back on Earth. He doesn't know whether he's going to be walking into like this scorched crater, and he gets there and there's nothing. Well, there's Earth, everything's fine, there's like nothing bad's having happened, and it's like, okay, I guess the Viltrumites didn't destroy Earth. But like, the problem is that Mark is so fucking, like, traumatized from everything that's happened. He's traumatized from his fights with Conquest. He's traumatized from, like, having to watch so many people die from being a superhero. He's traumatized from, like, what Thrag is and what Thrag could potentially do to his planet and everyone he loves. And it's great. It's some really cathartic drama. And he's, like, visiting his mom, and then he has, like, this like hallucination that Thrag just comes in and rips his mom's head off. He's talking to his girlfriend, and then he has a hallucination that Thrag just comes along and murks his girlfriend. And it's like, he's really genuinely fucked up. And over the course of the episode, you keep thinking, okay, when's the fight with Thrag gonna start? When is Thrag actually going to appear? And he doesn't. And it feels kind of anticlimactic, but then you get to the last 5 minutes of the episode, and Mark starts having another one of his hallucinations. His vision starts blurring, and he just sees Thrag out in the middle of the open sky. But then you realize this isn't a hallucination. Thrag is fucking here. And of course, Mark attacks him immediately. It doesn't work because it's fucking Thrag. And Thrag says one of the most unsettling things he possibly could. And it's like, Mark, the Viltrumites are not going to destroy your planet. What we are going to do is we are going to blend in with your people and breed with them until our numbers are strong again. If you don't let us do this, we have no choice but to destroy your entire planet. And Mark is so fucked up over this because he's seen what the Viltrumites do. He's seen it from like the very first season when Omni-Man beat the shit out of him and just wiped out like 200 people. He's seen like what this
Hello, Sir Vossel 089.
race of people are. And
I like Super Eyepatch Wolf's videos, but I feel like he's got some kind of misinterpretation of things here.
What they're capable of, but he also has no way out of this. He's not strong enough to defeat Thrag. He's not strong enough to get these super beings off his planet. And
I'm doing good. How about you?
He's also tired. Like he's too fucked up from everything that happens or everything's happened, and so he's like, okay, fine. That's it. And I think like, the reason I appreciate this is I wanted a showdown with Thrag. Like, I thought that would have been exciting, but I also don't know what you do with Invincible from this point on, if that's the case. And, like, I have no doubt there's still a bunch of plot threads that they've left hanging, like the fate of Robot and the alternate dimension universe, which I'm sure is going to come back in an interesting way.
It's bad. It's not interesting. It's bad. The problem is like, the comic clearly didn't know what to do from this point either. So I have two things. I talked more about is Invincible good or bad than actually Super Eyepatch Wolf did here. The only thing in this 25 minutes we've watched that he actually addressed is there is genuine criticism that is objective about the production of the art of the show, which is correct. But also, he said nothing but, like, he's clearly just kind of glazing it. Like, he doesn't see the plot flaws that are there. There are a lot of plot flaws. And he's not really seeing any of them. He's glazing the same episodes that were glazed here. The episodes that are almost nothing, that were glazed on the IMBD. I mean, I guess he's tapped into the psyche of the average, like, I'm gonna be mean here, brainlet consumer. He's tapped into the average psyche of the brainlet consumer. The plot's fine. I'm saying, like, there's massive problems with the pace and the execution of this, and it just doesn't seem to be a problem to other people that these characters don't have these moments to breathe. But then at the same time, when he's given a moment to breathe, and you get what to me was also the highlight of the plot, was Thrag getting this more human, or more like motivated explanation, and more like motivated menace and expanse to who he is beyond this super powerful badass. He's also glazing it, but then doesn't seem to have a problem when other characters previously don't get it. So it's like, okay, if we have a flashy battle of nothing with no and this character is literally just a hammer that's hammering Mark. There's nothing to them except the hammer. But hey, the hammer has a backstory. Look, the hammer I'm telling you, trust me, bro. The hammer. He's like the most savage, lonely hammer of all. He's such a terrifying hammer that none of the other hammers want to hang out with him. I guess. And you know what? I guess, you know what? Super Eyepatch Wolf is a big shonen enjoyer. I fucking hate shonen anime so goddamn much. Shonen is such shit goddamn garbage. It's so trash. I hate it. 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 Nightmare. 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 So, yeah, that's where our personalities and opinions change. I don't like the storytelling that is done in shonen. I don't think the character development in shonen is good. It is a hollow, empty experience to me, and that's the reason the only shonen I've ever fucking liked at this point is One Piece, because it's got 4,000 goddamn chapters of just character development. But even that being said, there's a bunch of problems, in my opinion, with One Piece. Even though it is also the best shonen ever made, don't watch the anime. Yeah, plotted shonen is about as important as it is in porn. We know why we're really here. I mean, to be fair, and you know what? Here's my interaction with One Piece as an anime. I just watched the fight scenes on YouTube. I'm basically watching a compilation. That's what I'm doing if I'm watching the One Piece anime. I am just watching the fight scenes. Because you know what? The fight scenes are the only thing in the anime that's improved over the manga. Because I get to see them happen, and the animation in modern One Piece anime is brilliant. It's brilliant. The animation is brilliant. It's exceptionally good. It's exceptionally good. It is fight porn. Yeah, Jesus. So my interaction with the One Piece anime is literally just watching fucking fight compilations and the fight scenes, because the anime refuses to do character development on the same level that the manga does. The anime will cut out character development to fit in more fighting. The character development is leagues, mountains better in the manga. And the pacing, I know a lot of people might not care about pacing outside of really egregious examples, but like the position of thumbsticks on my controller, it is a fixation that I have that ruins or saves everything I consume. If the pacing of media I'm consuming is bad, it is distracting to me to a fault that I cannot continue consuming the media. Or if I do, I start consuming it out of hatred. Loki only consumes things optimally. It's true. But for real though, like, it is a fixation that is distracting to me, and I only finished the Invincible comic book because by the time I started getting pissed off about the pacing, I was already two-thirds done with the series. And I was like, fuck it, I want to know how it ends, even if the pacing is shit, and it's making me mad. I'm hate reading now. And, the same thing kind of happened with One Piece. So I was watching One Piece, and I got to episode 400-something. Yeah, sunk cost be damned. I'm a real sunk cost kind of guy. With One Piece, I kind of did the same thing. I got to, like, episode 400, and I was like, I fucking hate this. I can't stand it. I was like, I'm enjoying parts of it, but this is how I started, this is how I started consuming the fucking, anime. It would be like this.
Positing artist is you're the person who gets the
you can't,
background.
Shit, you can't do that on, okay, you know how on mobile you can click to skip 10 seconds ahead? Yeah, that's what I'd be doing watching the anime. Neutral Stories 2026. Okay, yeah, we'll check it out. Yeah, well, okay, we'll check it out.
That's it. And I think the reason I...
Oh. Okay. First bit of immediate critique. Build your music a little bit. The first second should not be blasting me. Yeah, this also is kind of aggressively AI with, like, an aggressively AI cover, which isn't great. I would also say the switch up from, like, so we started... the intro starts a little too strong, and then the 7th second happens, and all of a sudden we're listening to a different song. So you came in too strong at the start, and then on the 7th second, the song ends, and we're now listening to a different song.
I was walking my road, feeling lost inside, asking questions out loud. Where's my path? Who am I? I was scared of tomorrow, of the unknown ahead. Thought that I was alone in this world so wide. But I found my answer in the calm of my prayer, in a quiet belief, slowly growing with care. Every time that it hurt, I would raise up my hands, and I'd feel peace return, settle deep in my heart. Oh Lord, guide every step that I take.
I gotta, like, okay, so I'm not gonna comment on it being a religious song, even though I don't care for religious stuff. If that's your inspiration, there's nothing wrong with it. But I'd also say if your inspiration is like faith, and you're trying to make something, I'd assume is a reflection of a level of passion, you should probably make it yourself. Because it reigns pretty empty to have a faith song that's like AI generated with like a pretty simple basic beat pattern. There's nothing really exciting going on. The levels are all really the same, so everything's like fighting for my ear's attention. Like everything is kind of loud and at the same level. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Learned Language Model. So you're using, like, a language model that's, like, specifically a faith-based language model? I am not entirely against, like, if you can't sing or you can't hire someone to do voices, if you want to do like an obviously emulated voice and you mix it and emulate it into something like essentially a text-to-speech for the words in a song. But I think you should at least be putting together the music yourself. There are a lot of free or cheap music creating services out there. Oh, it was a joke. Good joke, Logan. I only half paid attention. Thought they were actually saying that, not you. So I don't know why. I thought there was for some reason actually a faith-based large language learning model. You got me, dude. I'm an idiot. But I just say I think you're going to get something more interesting, even if it takes more effort. And I think it's less effort than you think. There are just so many free beat creation softwares, and there's an infinite landscape of learning how to do them. I do not even have I do not have a musical bone in my body, really. But even I have been able to do musical things using software. Like, I have, what is it? I think it's SoundForge on my computer. Yeah, SoundForge. I have SoundForge on my computer. I got that from as part of a Humble Bundle for $10, and it came with like 3 other programs. So if money is the obstacle, there are free and affordable options out there to get sound editing software. You can sample music for free. You can use a YouTube to MP3 player to sample sound bits from songs and videos for free and put them together inside free or cheap sound editing software, and you can make something that is going to just actually drip with your inner inspiration and your inner vision, and you're actually going to learn from it. Whereas if you have a language model building your thing for it, it's just kind of hollow and empty. There's a well, I'm glad you can take the criticism without taking offense or anything. I just say I want people to be creative, and I don't think language models aid in creativity. I would, if you have a musical interest and if you want to pursue faith-based music, I heavily encourage you to learn how to do it, watch some YouTube videos, and pursue that passion that way. I don't think anyone is ever going to create something that's interesting using AI. It ends up having a lot of problems, and all AI stuff kind of sounds a little bit the same.
Race of people are and what they're capable of, but he also has no way out of this. He's not strong enough. Would have been exciting, but I also don't know what you do with Invincible. It's happened with a big showdown, but by entering this uneasy kind of alliance, because in real life, a lot of the time, that's what happens. You don't just overwhelmingly defeat your foe. You ultimately have to come to this kind of weird compromise, and it's unsettling and strange and cool. And the further I get away from it, the more so.
Oh no, you got me. This is out there. Music creating services out there. Oh, it was a joke. Good joke, Logan. I only half paid attention. Thought they were actually saying that I'm not you. So I don't know why. I thought there was for some reason actually a faith-based large language learning model. You got me, dude. I'm an idiot. But I just say I think. Well, as my rule goes, any clip made gets published, so your own on me will be immortalized.
So I get over my disappointment over no like final encounter with Thrag, and the more I'm kind of just excited to see what comes from here. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed season 4. Really thought it was good, and like just the general writing and stuff with Invincible. You know, like I started writing my own comic last year, and watching the way they're able to weave plot lines in and out, it's just genuinely super impressive. And it's interesting to me because I've also been watching season 4 of The Boys, and The Boys for me is the very definition of a hit and miss show. I think there's great episodes of The Boys, and I think there's...
The Boys is bad. If I had full VOD, would have added you trying to convince yourself it was real.
Genuinely like terrible episodes of The Boys. I will do a video on The Boys when that season ends. I'm trying to think like, okay, what is the big difference between Invincible and The Boys?
Don't compare them. They're not comparable. Don't try and compare them. The Boys is just not very good.
And I would say that The Boys is very cynical. It's very cynical about what the idea of a superhero is or what it can be, but it's also very cynical about humanity and what we want and how we survive in a way that I don't always feel like is super earned or makes a point in like a really interesting way. And I think with Invincible, there is a genuine, earnest love for superhero media that I really appreciate. And I say this as someone who, you know, is not that into superhero stuff. I have read a lot of superhero stuff over the years. I really like stuff like Ultimates, Old Man Logan, Hush, Batman, Year One, all like a lot of the kind of...
He has bad superhero media opinions. Like, Hush is fine, but he just basically chose those popular string of, like, edgy comics.
Kind of classic DC Marvel stuff I do really like. World War Hulk. Fucking love me World War Hulk.
Okay, maybe I can't listen to Super Eyepatch Wolf for his opinions on superheroes. I haven't watched The Boys, but as far as I know, it's just another edgy superhero show. The genre kind of feels like a response to the plastic/vanilla heroes that's plagued Marvel for the past 10 years or so. Okay, so, like, the problem with The Boys is, like, it's so constantly almost good, and then it's just, like, you're like, oh, they have no fucking idea what to do. And then it ends up just being kind of like, yeah, edgy and gratuitous and, like, gross, but then, like, doesn't do anything with it.
But ultimately, I am a person who, whenever I hear the Superman versus Goku argument, I laugh and go, Goku, fight over that in the comments. But even that being the case, I think that I just appreciate that Invincible loves superheroes in a very sincere way. And I think even when it's getting dark, even when it's getting, like, fucked up and even, like, kind of...
Okay, that was a little disappointing. I feel like nothing was actually said there. That's more rambly than my rambles. Like, there was... There was even less... You know who wins in Superman vs. Goku? Tommy Animation's printing free money for 3 decades. Yeah, that's true. I think the comparison's kind of silly of a Superman versus Goku argument in general too, though. But, like, I don't know. I don't like versus comparisons because no matter what you have to do in general with versus comparisons is you have to scale someone to someone else's universe's rules because characters operate in such dramatically different realities. Yes, Sweet Pea?
Somebody stole the wheels off of one of the trash cans outside.
Huh?
And now it can't stand up straight.
Crackheads. Arguing power scaling in 2 properties that don't take place in remotely the same reality. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, okay, you could make a million arguments for why Superman beats Goku. You could make a million arguments for why Goku beats Superman. And they're both equally valid because the characters operate in different realities. It's like, okay, you could count ki as magic, and if we're like trying to scale Goku to the DC universe, and then if that's true, Goku one-shots Superman with any ki attack because magic does normal damage to Superman. Okay, but if you fucking say that it's not magic, then fucking no amount of it can hurt Superman because he's literally indestructible to, like, physical damage, basically. And then in that case, you know, Superman is going to punch a hole through Goku's chest. I don't even remember. I planned to rant about Invincible, and now I've forgotten anything that I possibly was thinking about. What is my fucking stream title? Figuring out as we go. Want to talk about Invincible gaming, maybe. Okay. So tempted just to play fucking TFT because I'm addicted and I'm hard stuck gold 2 right now. I feel like I can't really talk about Invincible anymore without just, like, literally going beat for beat what I hate about the show versus, which I feel like I've already done. The problem with the show is lazy. It's not giving enough care to itself. It's following the comic too closely. The fucking comic is bad, but it gets bad because it fucking gets bored with itself and just starts time skipping. That's it. That's my summary. I can't really detail explain that anymore. That's what's wrong with the comic. Overall, though, I've been hating on it. Overall, though, I'd still say the show at its worst is still like a 7. Maybe a 6. So, like, it's average to above average at its worst. But the reason I'm mad at the show is because the show's first impression to me was a 9. The show started as a 9 to me, crept down to an 8, and now it's crept down to like a 7. And same with the comic. When I was reading the comic, I was like, yes. Yes, there are, Logan. And I still need to finish Prey. And I'm close to finishing Prey. I just have so many things to fucking... It's so hard for me to dedicate time to Prey right now. Or, like, dedicate time to a game. It's so much easier just play a game that is a nothing game. That doesn't make me pay attention to anything except thinking about tactics. Oh my god. There's other things that I, like, need to do, too. There's so many things. Do your browser games? That's true. I need to do my browser games. We have to do our Lotl. As always, Timo. Well, shit, we got that he's male. That really narrowed it down. Doesn't use mana. Not a top. Darius uses mana. Not ranged. So melee doesn't use mana. There's Garen, but Garen's 2009. There's Set, but Set's a top laner. There's Mordekaiser. And Mordekaiser could be a mid laner. Mordekaiser's a valid guess. He's not a top, he's like, I mean, he's a lot of things. He plays top, jungle, mid. People even have played him support. But I feel like Mord is 09, you're right. Plus, I feel like he actually can't be Mord, because it has to be someone who's never top lane, if top lane's red. So it can't be a top laner, period. Like, even someone who's partial top lane. Rengar. Rengar's a really good choice. Yeah, let's guess Rengar. It is a jungler, so we had a good guess there. But it's newer than 2012, isn't Ixtal, doesn't use Ferocity, isn't a Vestian. Who is... So they're probably... Who are the junglers that don't use resources? We got Rengar. It's because you moved it. So you still get the blame. You moved it when you went into the kitchen. Okay, so, there's Rengar, people who don't use mana that are junglers. There's Rengar. Kha'Zix uses mana. Skarner uses mana, Hecarim uses mana. Gragas uses mana, Echo uses mana. Nocturne uses mana. Newer junglers who don't use mana. Mundo would count as a top, not just a jungler, but he uses health. Not Ferocity. Ammo, well, no, I was about to say Ammo Graves, but Graves is technically ranged, I think. Also, Graves is probably older than 2012. Yeah, Graves is OG. That's what I thought. I think... There's actually so few characters that don't use mana. It's hard for me to remember any characters that don't use mana. You know, I think Graves still uses mana, actually. So I don't even think that was a good, even momentary guess. Maokai uses mana. Ivern uses mana. Xin Zhao uses mana. Diana uses mana. Oh, but it's male. If I could just remember who actually doesn't use mana, it would be... It's probably really obvious. But who doesn't use mana that's a jungler? Diana is a mid laner or a jungler. Diana is definitely not a support. She's like like an AP assassin / AP fighter. It's actually very rare for junglers not to use mana. Yeah, very rare for junglers to not use mana. Yeah, exactly. So it's like most junglers will just have poor mana, like optimization, because at least in the early game, because they know you're gonna have blue buff to carry it. Like a Mumu, who's got piss poor mana optimization, but you get to ignore that when you have blue buff. I'm actually, like, kind of stumped. Who doesn't use mana? Okay, Aatrox doesn't use mana, but he's a top. Ambessa doesn't use mana, but Ambessa's a top, also a woman. Briar doesn't use mana, I don't think. Briar uses health. But Briar's a woman. It can't be Briar. Gwen... Does Gwen use... Well, but Gwen's a woman. It can't be Gwen. Hecarim uses mana. Xante, I think, is strictly a top laner. I genuinely can't remember if Kayn uses mana. Kled, I think, is strictly a top. Tom, I think, is strictly a top. Does Kayn use mana? Is my genuine thought now. Kayn is a good... Why can't I remember if Kayn uses mana? I played the shit out of Kayn. He definitely isn't mana intensive. Okay, he uses mana. Newer than 2017? Okay, I forgot about Lee Sin, but Lee Sin would have been a good guess, but he's not newer than 2017. Yeah, a champion that new is basically Alien. Kiana uses mana. All of them use mana. All of them use mana. Rek'Sai doesn't use mana, but is... Wait, no, Rek'Sai uses mana. Right? But Rek'Sai's a woman. Never mind, never mind. It can't be Rek'Sai. Is... Yeah, I mean, they're if I'm gonna be real, they're chess pieces to me, not gendered people. Zac could be a guess, but I don't know if Zac is newer than Kayn. I don't think he is. Zac is my next best guess, though. Older. That's what I thought. I genuinely can't remember if Viego uses mana. Okay, I don't think we missed any letters. So I'm gonna kind of say... That's a great question, because if not, Shyvana is a valid guess. Oh, a woman. You're right, you're right. It has to be Viego then, right? I feel like it's gotta be Viego, but I don't know if Viego uses mana or not. Ugh. That one's too easy. Viego's actually pretty cool, and he holds the record as the champion who broke League of Legends the most times. He is the only champion that ever involves game-breaking bugs nowadays. Thank you, Riot August, for creating the realest bug creator of all time. That's a bear claw, so that's either Udyr or Volibear. I think it's Volibear. It's passive or Q. Oh, what? Fucking wrong. Sun. Leona. Someone's hair? Dog, I have no idea. There's nothing here. It's just like a little bit of a swoosh of hair. Anyone who has hair could be the correct choice. Yeah, clearly Nasus hair. Dude, I'm gonna have a bajillion guesses. I have no idea, and it's still just hair. Name 100 women. Lee Krasner. I'm trying not to cop out and just name a bunch of politicians, because, like, that would be, like, incredibly cheap. But searching my mind for historical ones off the cuff, I'm only thinking of Lee Krasner and Joan of Arc. We're not gonna remember Ayn Rand. Okay, is this Soraka? Oh, it's Soraka. Yeah, I mean, this is the segment that we saw. It could have literally been any woman. Here's the thing, I don't even actually know which Soraka this might be. Any other part, honestly, would have been more helpful. I'm guessing either Divine Soraka, Dawnbringer Soraka, or Celestial Soraka. I'm gonna guess Dawnbringer. Oh, we were right. We were right. We're goated in the sauce. I don't know. Gabby hasn't done the Laudel. Gabby, did I beat you on the Laudel?
I didn't do the Laudel.
Do the Laudel.
Are you sure? Because I heard you doing it.
Are you saying you're gonna cheat? I don't actually want to fucking tweet it. Okay. I did 4119. Okay, that is rice, peppers, and pico de gallo. So I'm gonna guess Mexico. Ice cold! Okay, basmati. Okay, so India. I should have read instead of looked at it. Yep. Definitely not a country with white people. Yeah. Now this might be white people shit, though, because that actually looks like shit, and white people love eating shit. This dish is a savory condiment made by fermenting mushrooms with salt, spices, and sometimes aromatics like onions and garlic. After a period of fermentation, the mixture is strained to extract dark, rich liquid known for its umami flavor. It complements various dishes and serves as a flavorful seasoning. Traditionally, this concoction was used as a sauce base for seasoning addition. Yeah. You know, the fermenting, though, makes me think, like, Japan. Ice cold. Ice cold. Northwest. Then I'm going to swing all the way around and be like Germany. Hot. Mushroom ketchup. Of course, that's what it's called. Northwest of Germany. Hot. Does Bulgaria border Germany, or is it separated by the Netherlands, right? Warm. So less close. But still northwest. Just have to look. I gotta look at Germany. Oh, I wasn't thinking of Bulgaria. I was thinking of Belgium, but also it borders, so it can't be that. Is it just the United Kingdoms? It would have to, or it has to be Sweden, Norway, or the United Kingdoms. I'm gonna guess Norway. Warm. Southwest. It's the United Kingdoms? It has to be the United Kingdoms. Really? I've never heard of United Kingdom people eating mushroom ketchup. Almonds, orange blossom, water milk, honey, water cinnamon, lemon zest, optional. This sounds Turkish as shit to me. Cold. And it's anywhere between north and south, really. We'd have to go... maybe Spain? Warm. But south? Anywhere between east and south, really. I mean, it's gotta be, what, like, Algeria? Definitely mooncake. What?! Noodles. Sweets. That looks terrible. That I can't even tell what that is, so this wins by default. That doesn't look good at all, but this also doesn't look good. So I'm torn. I'm gonna choose the thing that at least looks like it might be a pie. Okay. Mother-in-law, United States. Definitely has to be this. Is this just dried leaves? I gotta be real, I'd be a little mad if someone handed me dried leaves and called it a meal. How did 64% pick that? I mean, this is cheese and peppers. And that looks like meth. That's just quiche. That's definitely just quiche, right? But it doesn't look like good quiche. Okay, 9 out of 10. We did pretty good there. Cookie... Wait. It's just beans. Oh, wait. Brown sugar? That's America. Should have read. Pita bread, eggplant, potatoes, salad, tahini, India. Cool. Is this a United Kingdom's version of pita then? Also cool. And it's northwest of India and southeast of the United Kingdoms. Greece is probably a good guess too. Warm, but still southeast. Southeast of Greece. Egypt? Borders Egypt. And it's northeast. Are they gonna try and say it's like... But if it borders and it's southeast, it can't be Syria because fucking Israel is in between it, but so is Jordan. I think Jordan is still... I don't think Israel has ever made anything, so I'm gonna have to go with Jordan. Yeah, that's just a straight up lie. I will... fuck Israel. Octopus, olive oil, paprika, coarse salt, potatoes. This sounds like Italy to me. Warm. Anywhere between south and north of Italy. But we got in the right region. If it's not Italy, it sounds like Spain. It's Spain. This is black beans. Azuki beans. Sugar. Mochi. Water. I mean, if it's got mochi in it, doesn't it have to be Japan? Yeah. Shark. Flour. Cornmeal. Salt, pepper, black pepper, oil, lettuce, tomato, cucumber, onion, mayonnaise, ketchup, hot sauce, pickles, bread or buns, lime, lemon, garlic, thyme, shadow beni. What the fuck is shadow beni? Coleslaw. I have no fucking idea. This sounds American as fuck to me. Like, you'd eat this in Florida. So I just want to say United States. Cool. Australia, then. Ice cold. Bake and shark. That makes it sound more American. It's southeast of Australia, but also not close. So what, like, Chile? Northeast. Dude, I am at a... It has actual shark in it. Northeast. I mean, the only other place that I could think of, China? Ice cold. Bro, I've guessed this continent, this continent, this continent, and this continent. I'm only haven't guessed in Africa at this point. But also, it says northwest of China. Northwest of China. And southeast of the United States. I mean, okay, if it was east, we could, like, wrap around to, like... No, because it would have to, if it would have to be east of China. No matter where you're starting from, and it says northwest of China. So either above or to, like, the left of China. Kind of lands us over in Europe, but then we haven't guessed a European country. And then it says south to east of the United States, which would land us in, like, France or... Fuck, dog. I'm gonna guess Portugal. Trinidad and Tobago. Where is Trinidad's in Africa, right? I don't know where Trinidad is. Oh, it's a little island off of South America. Wait a minute. You gave me ice cold on Chile? That's rough. That's rough. That just doesn't look like a good nacho slot bowl, but that also looks sad. So I'm going to go with the nacho slot bowl. These are both very depressing. I think I'd rather have this because it's more stuff. That's insane. Walking Cheez-It nachos are pretty good, but for $8.90 is crazy. That looks like such raw bacon. And way too much ketchup. Like a gross amount of ketchup. This also looks like it has no chips in it. I still have to go with this. Ice cream nachos seems way better than sad cheeseburger. Just a free oyster. I forgot I made myself big to be angry and didn't shrink myself. This looks terrible. Chicken and beef burger combined. That looks awful. I mean, an oyster's okay. But, like, it's gotta go to this. Even though I think I'd rather just have the oyster. We're not chatting on Discord, buddy. That's what I was wondering. Like, I would choose the chicken nuggets with fries, but that sauce looks so bad, I've gotta go pie. The laziest chips and cheese of all time. Looks terrible, but you know this right here actually slaps. Yeah, true. If the cheese wasn't there, the fries might win. This is a depression burger. Or just a bunch of fries with dip. Although, $26 for just French fries? Do people actually look at the price? Does that factor in? Because if the price factors in, it has to be the burger. But I'd much rather have cheese sauce and French fries than this crappy burger. Yeah. Not really a competition. Now this. Where'd all the white to the egg go? Did they, like, cut it off? Also, just one tomato and one mushroom? That's also the shittiest bacon and/or ham I've ever seen. Yeah, plus the sausage roll has beer. It's the cheeseburger loaded fries all day long. That actually looks good. Those tacos look like diarrhea. It is. I can't believe they made it so Super Scran is only for supporters. Definitely that. Not even close. Not even close. Not even close. I'm gonna say not even close. What? It was very close. That looks horrible. But I also don't know what this is. It's just a whole crab claw. This looks like it got cummed on by Spider-Man. It's gotta be the crab dumpling. What?! That fried chicken looks so bad. No. The name crab nail is unappetizing. That's unreal. That's unreal. We did so bad. Definitely this. Easy. Cheeseburger. Whoa. These both look good. This is only $5. Okay, look. I would choose this salmon bagel all day long, but this seems like too much of a good deal. Yeah. Minty peas sounds terrible, but that looks like someone nuked it. That's a sausage? That doesn't actually look that good. But does it look better than lollipop sausage? There's something very appealing about this one to me. I want to pick it, but I feel like this is going to beat it. Even though it just shouldn't. Because it's just a fucking wiener with a plain piece of bread and sauce. We're going to go with our heart and choose the fun Japanese food. No! Is the bun black or is it burned? This is definitely actually awesome. Teriyaki sauce, seaweed, and scrambled egg. No, they thought it was burned. It's like an ink bun. Yeah, the squid ink is good, though. That just, we can't tell. Okay, we did better there. Fuck, I want to get a 10. Definitely this. Definitely this. Definitely this. Okay, this might be it. We just have to... It's gotta be this. That actually looks good. This is the first pie one that genuinely looks good. And that's just a plain big dog. Yeah. Yo, that looks fire. Fire. Okay, we're machine gunning through this one. That looks actually delectably good. What?! You people have lost your goddamn minds. 20% of people said yes? What did I miss about that wasn't good? I'm in whiplash. Whiplash over that one. %26 versus 91%? This looks so good. You've got arugula chips, sauce, a really good bun with a big-ass piece of buttermilk chicken versus just the most basic-ass katsu. It doesn't even look like you get rice with it. That's insane. That's deranged. That's deranged. That's actually deranged. No, we're fucking done with Scrandle. That one had me. That one has me whooped. Fuck it, we're gonna play a game of TFT to finish it. I gotta get to gold 1. I've been hard stuck gold 2 for a couple games now. I just keep win-losing on 0. I just keep going between 0 and 50 LP. You Katsu fiends. Yeah, 1 hit. It's all I need. Just 1 more hit. We're gonna do better this time than we've been doing. We're about to find out how well we could do as soon as we load in.
Mortals must succeed where gods have failed. Come out and play.
Okay. Soraka and Thresh. I like Thresh. And then we start with a random 3 cost. Samira is not a good random 3 cost, so we're at a disadvantage. Let's see. What did they start with? Also a Samira. Oh, they started with a really good one. They also got... 3 of us got Samira, and 3 of us... Okay, so only 2 people in this entire game got a 3 cost that's actually good.
Let's finish this quickly.
Great Stargazer, this game. Like, definitely doing something with Stargazer. This is my favorite Stargazer to get.
Pathetic.
Because this Stargazer lets us hyper roll.
Let's finish this quickly.
We really want to see TF and Caitlyn. Those would be our big gets. Unless we get an augment that thoroughly changes our mind.
They had it coming.
Not good items, but that's fine for now. Early learning is really good with what we want to do. Okay, yeah, yeah, we gotta take early learning. It's too good for what we're doing.
Doing it.
Yeah. Early learning is definitely too good for what we're gonna be doing. Oh, okay, very close. But it's fine. We're kind of okay. Like I said, we're always kind of okay with losing the first couple, because that means we can get an anvil on the Krugs.
Don't cross me.
So we already got 4% on them. The percentages from lifelong learning is just 1 per combat, so we'll basically get 5 per stage, and it'll be 10 per stage for our 1 costs. Just our 1 cost, right? Yeah, just our 1 costs. which is definitely good. Nice. Throwing that fucking lucky card. We'll do that to activate Bastion. It's better. Also, he benefits more. Oh, Aatrox actually benefits wildly from this. Caitlyn. We'll probably level it next round just to get Caitlyn out. Not looking good. Our people just do not have damage yet, and that Viagar fucked us up. But again, it's fine, especially if we can actually end bottom 4 for the first stage. Okay, we can't take that, even though we do want the item more. Ooh, a 2-star Aatrox? That's a really good grab. It's kind of an OP grab. Why, thank you, game. Very unfair thing you just gave me. Very not okay of you. Yeah, we'll put a Sunfire on him. Why are you just standing there, Jax? It's not what you're supposed to do. Aatrox actually will scale very well off of our lifelong learning. So will Caitlyn, and so will TF. Talon will scale okay. Kind of getting reamed on our 1-cost hyper rolling though. I gotta be real. Got a 20% attack speed, 30% shred. Definitely want to be doing better on our hyper roll. Alright, we kind of need to lose this fight right here. Which should happen, I'm thinking. Yes. We could have killed one more unit, I would have been happier, but... ends us on the bottom 4. Which means we should get a, an anvil, I think, right? Or are we not gonna get an anvil? Is it just gonna royally fuck us? Did we land too perfectly in the middle? Does the middle get nothing? Oh no, we'll get one anvil. Cool.
This is your absolution.
Huh.
Let's finish this quickly.
Okay, one more, but it's also not the greatest. I guess we have to lock that. Our harper rolling is and is not working. Okay, their backline. A little too good right now. We are not finding Caitlyn, which is not happy.
Need me to hold back?
Okay, not bad. Oh, it goes up way a lot. 405. That's gonna be a lot better, actually. Attack tank. Okay. Throw that 9. Boop, boop. Alright, we just need to do no more losing. Only winning from here on out. And then we'll be golden.
I got this. Don't cross me.
Wow. Give me anything except Caitlyn's, huh, game? Even though Caitlyn is what I want more. Or TF's, like... I guess I can't complain too much that you're giving me things, but fuck. I want specific things, and those are not the specific things. How did she still get the shield off? Punk? Jax, you keep missing. Nice. Comeback story. What? That's too good. I thought they removed that from being able to appear as your second. Did they not? I thought they could only appear as your third boon now. I thought they hot patched that out. What the fuck? We're gonna have to have...
I never rest.
I'm blown away. I was so sure they patched that shit out. I'm actually really stunned. I was so sure they patched that shit out.
Let's finish this quickly.
Okay. We really need to find that that last Aatrox to boost ourselves. Also, Caitlyn, where the fuck are you? Where are you, Caitlyn? Oh, almost. Almost, TF. You almost threw out the Giga Bounce. Nice, one more. That's pretty good. Wow, that's a lot more damage on the hit from also being tankier. That'll boost the damage for everyone on our team, too.
No fighting destiny.
I'm on the job.
I got this. Doing it.
Damn it, game.
All will know us in time.
We have to go for leveling. We have all our Novas. Oh, they have all my Caitlyns. Very sad. Very sad that they have all our Nova or all our Caitlyns. Although there's enough one cost that I should still be able to find Caitlyn. Even if they got a really...
Don't cross me.
No, let's go for Jeweled Lotus. That way we can double up on the target. Cool, cool.
I'll savor this.
They'll have to get through me.
Probably want items for you. I mean, Actually, is it better just to have this on you right now? Because you're actually swole. Okay. How did you get over there again? Woo! Okay, 1200 is pretty good. Good job, Aatrox. Then we'll just keep it because we just need to get these two out. And is anyone else going Nova? These people are, but they're kind of struggling. So if we can, okay, we have 2 ops, and both of them are kind of struggling. Stab. Good shit. Okay, we got all of our 1-drops are actually slapping. Except for Caitlyn, who's still a 1-star. Yeah, we'll go for Soraka. I don't even remember what Soraka's boon is, but those items are way too good. We'd just much rather have those items. We'll level next round. Oh. Woohoo! Okay, that was a good hit from TF. We're happy about that. Could we get our last TF maybe? Because TF also prints you gold when he stars up. So like, it'd be nice, dog. It'd be nice, dog.
I got this.
Protect what is pure.
We'll try and... Well, actually, wait. Is there even one... Oh, okay, we're still looking for Caitlyn's, I guess. Their positioning on their Fizz is really bad. Each time we fought them, their Fizz has been, like, the first person to get capped. And their Fizz is also, like, one of their more powerful people. What's our light early learning? 15, so 30 for our 1 costs. Very good.
I will not let you fall.
Already have Talon, so it's crazy that it tried to give us another Talon. If we find a 4 cost, we'll grab it and toss it over there, just because. Well, we kind of just want to sit here in econ for the most part, so we can get to level 8 and throw out our last Nova. That was close. 20k! 20k coming out of TF. That's a little nuts. We do really want to tier up people. And Caitlyn is still technically one of our best chances for a tier up. We will swap these items over to Caitlyn if we tier up Caitlyn. Because honestly, Talon is not performing as well as he could be. Yeah, mostly because he's getting 1 capped. Oh! Oh, 1 more auto attack and we would have had it. That was so close. We need to knock this person out. Solora needs to be the next person to get knocked out. They didn't.
You cannot hide from me.
We're gonna just try and tier up our epic, because I don't think anyone else has her yet. Yeah, no one else has her yet. Oh wow, we crept up to number 1. I didn't even notice. Well, we're getting Zedded. That's not great. We got Zedded.
End this petty quarrel.
I do kind of want that, but there's no way we're gonna actually be able to fit it in. Oh, the card didn't even get to connect. That's sad. Our front line just got eviscerated too fast. Okay, Solera's out, which is big. Flambe is the next big terror. Got 27% out of that. Would it just be better to put these on fucking... Because, like, Talon is hitting one time and dying. Even if she's not the right level for it. We might move these over to Kindred. Okay, yeah. She's doing way better than Talon. Way better than Talon was. Okay. Our epic rolls are not working out very well. Okay. No one's really competing with me on the Kindred front yet.
Pathetic.
Okay, Edge of Night might make Talon do something. Nice. And they're out. Flambe is still beating all of our asses with Infinite Zed. Okay, we made it to top 4. We're getting LP. But can we do better than getting LP?
I'm on the job.
Okay, they're just spawning too many too fast. The fucking Protector's Vow actually makes it so every time you almost kill one, it summons one.
I'm on the job.
We should probably beat this person. And if Flambe is fighting, yeah, big ol' white, they're probably also out, which means we're probably top 2. by default. Unless, of course, Ribbon gets in like this. Okay, ow. Top 3?
Heavens descend.
All will know us.
Wow, this reroll has really not been OP for us. It's really not been OP for us. Oh, of course. I think we both are fighting him, so it's whichever of us loses less bad. Okay, no, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. It's just impossible to fuck with the Zeds. He had 1 more health than me, so the question is, did he do 1? No, he didn't. You know, we'll take a third. And we creep back up to the 50 LP mark, basically, of where we've been hard stuck. Anyway, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get off and make myself some food. Thanks for hanging out and listen to me complain about Viltrumites. We'll see y'all tomorrow.